Hello there, my name's Neil David and I'm the host of Eurograps Express, the podcast exclusively dedicated to the wrestling of Europe. If it's wrestling and it happens in Europe and it's good, we talk about it. Whether it's RevPro, Progress, WXW, Passion Pro, Pro Wrestling Chaos, Pro Wrestling North, we don't care, we talk about them all. If it's good and it's exciting, I want to share it with you. We're on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Check us out on the feed. Check us out on Twitter at EuroGrapsEXP. And join us for chat about European wrestling and a little bit of chat about cheese. Hopefully see you there.
Hey kids, do you like wrestling? Well, we like wrestling too. We are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino kind of doing a lazy river of wrestling criticism, going through the news and whatever happened in stateside television wrestling. And also, you know what? Sometimes we just like to watch old stuff and talk about that too. Love for you to give us a listen. If you haven't already, we are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Sunday the 5th of March, 2023. This is episode 249. If you think my voice sounds a bit different, I did strain it quite badly last night, screaming during the Arsenal versus Bournemouth match. I'm also recording the podcast in the same room as my sleeping children, so I'm trying to, I think having the strained voice and I don't know, does it sound different to you, David? Do I sound a lower pitch? It's coming off that way for me.
Yeah, it's you're very you have your compressor
Bassy.
filter on. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's a toned down Joel for the night.
Yes, do not adjust your set, listeners. This is well, if you want to blame anyone, blame Arsenal because. Goodness me, what a game that was! That was fantastic. We actually have a question from a disgruntled Bournemouth fan who says, let's say hypothetically there was a fucking useless PE teacher wrestling for New Japan who kept fucking up every single match. How long would it take to fire him and replace him with someone competent? Well, that is happening, and it looks like this person is going to win the New Japan Cup. So that's a Sonata joke. I'm joking, but yeah, I understand your frustration, Bournemouth fans. What's going on in the world of American sport or Canadian sports?
Well, Canadian sports. Well, where are we here? Well, the Leafs got their ass whipped by a team that they should have easily handled last night, but no. I don't know. I mean, they made some great moves. The trade deadline was on Friday, and they made some, I think, solid moves before that to help give us a little bit more sandpaper going into the playoffs soon. It's going to be a tough fucking Eastern Conference, Joe. It's going to be tough.
Is Krusty coming?
I'll tell you what, the path...
Which is going to happen first? The Maple Leafs win the playoffs, or El Fantasma wins a big match and becomes Bullet Club leader?
Boy, I tell you, they're feeling like the same. I'm looking for that little office meme with Pam. It's the same picture because it is the same feeling I'm getting. But we'll see. You know what? Look, Boston is really tough. Tampa Bay is always tough. I don't know. It's Devils, Rangers. Honestly, there's so many good teams that like in the first round of the playoffs, there's going to be at least 2, maybe 3 that are literally top of the league in the regular season, and they're going to be going home early. It's going to be a bloodbath, but it's going to be great too in the same breath. Baseball starting soon. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Baseball. Yeah, and here we go. It's March. We're starting to get some. I don't know. Everybody's kind of jonesing for spring. New Japan Cup season, and that is. I'm sorry, my wife is texting me. Okay, very good. Never mind. Okay, yes, everything's great. Good. I had a text that threw me off a little bit. Sorry.
That's okay. So I went to the pub to watch the Arsenal game yesterday, and we ended up getting dragged into a conversation with this English guy who was sitting next to us, older gentleman. I went to the toilet, and then I came back, and my friend who was visiting actually from Taiwan was talking to this guy, and I just overheard a little snippet of the conversation, which was, and I don't know if you're a fan of Joe Biden, but I mean, since he took over, everything's gone to shit. And I was like, uh-oh. So I was just like listening to this conversation from afar, and it was unbelievable. Like the one that really gave me pause for thought was that he was going off on a rant about the LGBTQ plus community. He was particularly upset by transgender people.
Really?
Real bee in his bonnet about that. And he came out with this line like, at the end of the day, when you dig up the skeleton, you're going to be looking at that and say, that's a man with a cock, or that's a woman with a pussy. Those were his exact words.
Wow.
And I started thinking about it. I was like, would I actually be able to tell?
No.
If it was a male or a female by looking at the skeleton? I don't think I could.
I mean, I could get a decent...
There's no penis back there.
Right. Is that a penis or is that an earthworm? I'm not sure. Burrowing in. I don't know. Why would you care? Jesus. My God. But...
I was just thinking, like, I spent the next 5 minutes just sort of studying human pelvis bones and trying to figure out if I could tell the difference between them.
I don't think I could. Yeah, I don't understand. And here's the thing.
Enter a game. What's a segment on the podcast? Damon guesses whether pelvis is a male or female.
Trust me. There's been many nights in the 90s where I had to guess.
I mean, would it be any worse than when we were playing the game where you had to identify which tits belong to which New Japan wrestlers?
Right. It really
about
won.
The same vein, wasn't it?
It really won. Yeah, that's true. All right, let me just get this. I'm sorry. So Cheryl's going shopping right now. She's going food shopping right now, and she's sending me like text of, should I get this or should I get this? Do you want this or do I want that? And I'm like, I'm doing a show here.
No, these are important questions, David. This is what the cornerstone of any successful relationship is built on. So.
Yeah, she wants to know what kind of monsters
Let's
I
hear
want.
it. I can help.
All right. What kind of monsters I want? They don't have my usual flavor that I go for. So she took a picture of
what are
that.
the options?
Well, right now it is the new original taste monster, but it's 0 sugar. There is Ultra Zero. Looks like peach, and it looks like.
I'm sorry, these are really confusing. New original and Ultra Zero. Those sound like oxymorons to me.
Trust me, I don't know. I just want I don't know. So I told her to just get the fucking sugar-free Red Bull. I was just like, just get that. It's fine. I just need. Excuse me. I should have put on my cough button. I'm not a big regular coffee guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't like get out a pot of coffee. That's not me. I can't do that. Now I do like a latte or a cappuccino. I do like that, but I don't like just like regular coffee. I don't know why. So I have to have something to kind of get the ball rolling here. Get the engine fired up. And I don't have anybody that can get me cocaine. So I just
yet. I mean, listeners, if you know any dealers in Damon's area, then...
yeah, right. Hit me up. Yes.
Redcircle.com /
right. Yeah, please. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Do you know? I say, and I don't think anybody knows. I think you're like one of the few people that actually are aware, and I guess I got to tell because now that I'm fucking, I don't know. Here's the thing. No, I'm not. Yeah,
You're pregnant. Yeah,
I'm pregnant. That's it. Trust me, that wouldn't be shocking to people looking at my rather large belly. Okay. Anyway, let's move on, shall we?
Yes, let's move on. I watched a lot of wrestling today. I was sort of dipping in and out of various little nuggets of New Japan goodness spread across the wrestling world. So now up on NJPW World are the recent Tamashii tapings from Australia.
I saw.
I think they're from Australia. I watched a couple of matches from the February 4th show. So there was the critically acclaimed Robbie Eagles versus Kyle Fletcher match, which is really fantastic. Very heavy on the storytelling with Robbie Eagles, who I believe mentored Kyle Fletcher at some point in his past, and sort of playing into that. And then Kyle Fletcher sort of breaking out Will Ospreay influence moves. So it's like the kind of ideological battle between the two, the mentor that he had and the mentor he's got now, which is really interesting. So I did mention last week that I think this match was sort of a bit of a test run, maybe testing the waters for a possible Kyle Fletcher singles run in New Japan, because he's bulked up a lot. He's looking in fantastic shape. And yeah, so I would strongly recommend people checking this one out. It ticked all the boxes you'd want from your New Japan main event epic, even though it wasn't the main event. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that is worth a watch. Other stuff from that very show, actually, the main event was Hinora versus Caveman Ugg, which was your typical meat slapper match. Very good fun, and they did a big angle at the end with Caveman Ugg joining Bullet Club, which I imagine this is sort of a little self-contained Tamashii narratives, but it was interesting they did that anyway, like the sort of heel-face dynamics of it, because Hinora is not exactly a babyface, but just the way it was set up, it seemed like Caveman Ugg was also a heel, so I don't know, I'll be curious to see how that one plays out, but yeah, that was an interesting match anyway. I also watched Zack Sabre Jr. defending his NJPW World TV title against Blake Christian on Ring of Honor.
I saw that as well. I did see that. That's the one I saw, yes. Okay,
yeah, you go first then. What did you think of that?
So, like for me, Zach, I'm speaking of, is perfect in the sense of working for a promotion like Ring of Honor. Fits perfectly in the mold. I say this knowing full well that I am a massive Zach fan. Massive. Huge. And I think that him working Ring of Honor is a fantastic fit. I felt like this match was it was good. I don't know. I couldn't get into it at all. How about you? I could not get into it at all. I felt like it. I don't know. It felt like it felt like somebody imitating Zack Sabre Jr. Does that make any sense? Like it felt like
yeah, it did feel like a parody of himself.
Yes,
didn't it? He was like some of the transitions and moves he was pulling out were really stretching thin my suspension of disbelief, because he's out there, he's calling out Bryan Danielson, he's saying, I'm the best technical wrestler. What he's doing is not technical wrestling. I'm going to talk about another match which was technical wrestling. This was not it. I thought it was fun. I mean, it was very flashy and showy, and I thought it was an interesting styles mix. I like Blake Christian from an in-ring standpoint. I do think he still looks and feels like a geek. And I don't know. I mean, I'm curious to see if New Japan are interested in picking him up for future events. Maybe some US-based junior thing they might have in the pipelines, or maybe even Best of the Super Juniors, because I think he's a really fun to watch wrestler. So I put him on the level of like a Flip Gordon. But yeah, this match was not Zack at his best. It was very sort of flashy and showy, a lot of sparkle, but not a great deal of substance to it. Yeah,
like I said, I felt like it was someone giving a copy of. That's really what I felt like. Like with everything that's going on in the pro wrestling world and everything that's going on, and specifically with New Japan and the US and the idea of what Strong is now compared to what it was. Yeah, I mean that's about the only. I mean, there's a lot of people that are looking for a lot of work, and we got to make cuts somewhere, right? If we're talking like an undercard on a New Japan show in the middle of fucking Detroit, great, you know what I mean? But I can't see it going any further than that.
You're talking about Blake Christian?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I thought another match I watched today as a sort of interesting counterpoint to this was the Ganyujima Katsuyori Shibata versus Tom Lawler match from the Inoki Bombaye show, which is also free on YouTube now to watch. So that is technical wrestling. That Zack versus Blake Christian was not. This is. And if you're into that sort of UWF style wrestling, sort of shoot style, kind of very heavily MMA inspired, grapple fuck, as some people might unkindly reference it. This was a lot of fun. This is not the sort of stuff I would watch every week, but in small doses, then it was quite entertaining. And it was just interesting to see, Katsuyori Shibata and Tom Lawler, two guys I would love to see a lot more of on New Japan programming. I don't know, it just feels like they're sort of picking up scraps at the moment. They're not being given much at all. So whilst I enjoyed this match, and I do recommend people watching it just for the sake of something a little bit different to your regular New Japan start of match, did make me feel a bit sad because I want to see these guys wrestling on New Japan proper.
Yeah, me too. And that's the one thing I was a little bit cautious of and fearful of when it came to the idea of Strong kind of evolving into Big Show Strong. We're going to miss out on people. We're going to, and I know that the idea of they're going to just tape a bunch of things at these shows, okay, all right. I just feel like the congruency. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of effort that went into certain things that it feels like we are going to be sunsetting very quickly. And I think Tom Lawler is in that bunch, is in that crew of a heavy focus when Strong was live and kicking, and now Big Show Strong is, look, we're not even on Strong. We're on an Inoki produce show. So I don't know. I feel it. I mean, do they have too much talent? Are they spread too fucking thin at this point, Joe?
Yeah, they don't have enough programming to certainly feature all the talent I would like to see. I'm thinking guys like Bad Tito. We had a question from Psychosis86 as if New Japan isn't going to push or use any of the LA Dojo guys. What was the point of the dojo? And I do think we covered this last week, but Clark Connors and Alex Coughlin and Gabe Kidd, I would love to see those guys wrestling. It's just Fred Rosser. Why are these guys not at the New Japan Cup? I mean, again, this is something we've already discussed, but
I mean, there's a lot of changes
disappointing
going.
Not to see these guys feature.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes going on when it comes to LA Dojo and faces that maybe you have seen before that we might not be seeing much of. It feels like Strong as an entire entity is, or at least was, a COVID project. And it was, let's set up an office so that we can run shows somewhere, because at least there's pockets of the United States where, they don't give a fuck and they're going to, whatever, they're going to do what they do. And it might be a little bit easier for us to at least put on a show. I think I hate to say it, but I think the LA Dojo is kind of in this weird flux in itself. And I think obviously Strong is going to change and is changing, has already changed. But I'm not 100% convinced it's for the better.
Yes, I mean, I totally agree with you that I think Strong was a sort of stopgap pandemic thing. But would have imagined that one of the silver linings of that would be guys that impressed during Strong were guys you bring over to Japan. But we're not really seeing that happen at the moment. And, I've speculated that I think New Japan is in money-saving mode. I'm not saying they're in financial crisis or anything, but I don't think they're not obviously not keen on throwing money around to bring over huge swathes of talent abroad. I mean, they're being very selective, picking and choosing about who they're bringing over for tours and trying to make use of the people that they have under contract.
Yeah, but I mean, didn't Bushiroad have a pretty successful quarter, or didn't I see that on a business report somewhere? Who knows? I mean, not for nothing. If we are now post-COVID and now we're in financial peril, you know what I mean? And we're not. I don't want to mislead people to think that they're scraping together, yen in the couch. That's not happening. But yeah, you can kind of feel the wallet and the purse not that open, right? They're holding on to their money a little bit, but it is frustrating because that's, I don't know. Do you feel like you were promised something and it hasn't delivered? And they never specifically said, yes, people from Strong, if that's the end goal. That was never a sentence uttered out of their mouths. But wasn't the assumption there that that's what it was? Because that's what it felt like, and that's how it felt like they were presenting it, as these guys were, ready to take the next step, and the next step would obviously be Japan. And there's been quite a few opportunities where, again, we're talking about, they should have these guys from Strong over, and how great would it be for this guy to participate? And that hasn't been a reality. I mean, aside from guys that have already been established, and I guess Leo Rush would be one of those people, and maybe TJP. Who else has come from Strong?
We did get Badu Tito over for a bit. We got Alex Zane coming over for Best of the Super Juniors.
Right.
We've got Aussie Open. I mean, I don't know if they count. I know obviously New Japan have been interested in bringing them over for a very long time.
Right.
But it's that's just not enough for me. I really grew to have a connection with these guys, and I just wanted to see them getting more of a shot. I mean, Kevin Knight, DKC, they've had chances in Japan, but I was just sort of hoping they would be regular parts of the travelling roster. But I guess they're just going to be sort of cycling people in and out for particular tours. And all these guys I'm complaining about not seeing, maybe we'll see them for the I don't know, Sakura Genesis or Don Taku or whatever's around the corner.
I mean, I hope so, but I'm not holding my breath. Let's put it that way. It's just, I mean, Kenta's got the title now, and he's showing it off at Cork, and now, so that's kind of sitting over there. I mean, he can obviously go in and out and fly back and forth, and he doesn't seem to have a problem with that. But still, it does. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of guys that are now in this state of limbo. That's, again, I never want to say people earned something, they deserve something. It's pro wrestling, and crazier things have happened, but you would think that some of these guys would be rewarded for their dedication. And let's be very truthful here. I don't think any of those guys that they would bring in are making a killing, right? They're not making a fucking killing, that's for sure. And the work is hard, and they're always under pressure to try to impress, to try to be the one that, raises somebody's eyebrow to be like, that'll work over here. We could use him. So it's got to be pretty frustrating for a lot of those guys that are, again, spent a lot of time there working hard and maybe not necessarily reaping the rewards of all their hard work.
Well, speaking of other New Japan talent wrestling elsewhere, More Than Meat Joy says, did either of you see Yuji Nagata's big win against Kento? We touched on it just in terms of the result. I actually went and watched the match. I thought it was really good.
Me too.
So I take back I had some reservations about it, and I thought it is good. And Yuji Nagata as the Triple Crown champion is good. And, if it gives me a chance to see him wrestle in extended high-profile matches, then that's great, because we're not seeing that in New Japan. I definitely think he's visibly slowed down over the last 2 years, but that's not exactly a hot take. But I mean, for one thing, it got me to watch All Japan, which is a feat in and of itself. So, thumbs up from me.
Yeah. Again, I think so. How can I word this without indicting people? Let's just say this. Somebody who is very connected with the Japanese pro wrestling scene may or may not have had a lunch with a person that I communicate with. And that person communicated back that this person who is in Japan and had lunch with, and I quote, that promotion is garbage. Someone who is very tied with the pro wrestling scene in Japan. They're in trouble. They're on shaky ground. Now, will this title change be the thing that helps spark interest back in All Japan? To a certain degree. I mean, again, it got you to watch. It got me to watch. It got people talking about the promotion. But I don't know how you build off of that. How do you build off of a 50-year-old, probably even older guy who's obviously in the twilight of his career, winning your biggest title, when you have guys that, and again, you can't, I understand the fact that you have a handful of guys that can really carry a promotion, and you can't constantly go back and forth with them, just flopping the title back and forth between them. It doesn't say a lot about your promotion. I hate to say it. It doesn't say a lot about your promotion.
Well, no, Damon, the playbook is there from Pro Wrestling Noah, who very skillfully used the the waning run of Keiji Muto to establish Kaito Kiyomiya as a mega. Oh no, wait.
Oh yeah. Oops. That didn't happen. Just the opposite, actually. It's look, if you are a fan of Big Japan, All Japan, Noah, what have you, and there are whispers of New Japan having involvement in your show, you've got to realize now that there's I saw the results. I didn't see the show yet. J, what did they call it? The J Festival? What was it?
Yeah, the All-Star Junior Festival.
Yeah. Take a look at those results. I don't care if it's an 8-man tag. If there are New Japan people on the side, they aren't losing. They aren't losing. I think there was one where Doki was on a losing side, but I don't think he took the pinfall. I'm not 100% sure. It's amazing. It's amazing that, well, we'll help you pop a house, but your guys are not going over, and I don't care who the fuck it is. So yeah, it is a quite a scene, that's for sure.
We also got a little bit of a scoop here about Jay White, to probably not surprising many people, but his contract, from what we understand, his contract is officially expired. And you can see that from just little things like the way they're selling off his merchandise and the like. So Flynn says, if Jay has made his last appearance, it feels odd he did not formally get kicked out of Bullet Club in some kind of angle. Do you think Jay post Wrestle Kingdom match with Ibushi is the biggest disappointment during your New Japan fandom? Felt so underwhelming for somebody with his level of talent. I mean, we've discussed this to death. We talked at length about how great the Jay White babyface run could be and was going to be, because I was convinced it was going to happen at some point. I didn't imagine he'd be quitting and going to WWE, but the pandemic changed everything for him. In terms of where I think he's going to land, I do suspect WWE is going to be the most likely destination. Damon, any additional thoughts on the, well, as we understand it, official departure of Jay White?
They dropped the ball again. They dropped the ball.
He dropped it as well. I mean, He completely failed to adapt to the circumstances around him. I mean, what a colossal fuck up it was. All the buzz that he had after Wrestle Kingdom 15, and then just turning, reappearing at Korakuen Hall, attacking Ishii with exactly the same character, exactly the same gimmick, exactly the same style of wrestling. At that point, you could just tell his heart's not in it anymore. So, yeah, I think it'll be good for WWE. You know what? Just like Yuji Nagata with All Japan, I might actually watch a bit of WWE if he does turn up there.
Oh, his first show, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like if there's buzz that he's at a show or something like that, I definitely want to see it. It was like Shinsuke doing the NXT debut against Sami Zayn. And I thought that match was pretty great, and the buzz and the excitement.
It was a complete copy paste of the Nakamura Ibushi match from Wrestle.
It was, but
it was still really good.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And then just completely downhill from there.
Oh my god, I forget he's even there. I don't even he is just so off my radar right now, and which is amazing because, quite frankly, I think a lot of people got into New Japan just seeing him, and just now it's what a watered down version. But again, he's probably making more money and more famous and all that stuff. But yeah, I definitely will tune in to see Jay White there. See what or Tommy, whatever they're going to call him, Tommy Zencaster. I don't know.
Okay, here's a question from Gig. He says, in honor of Jay going to NXT, can Damon and Joel give each other NXT names?
Oh.
You can't have part of either of your legal names. Examples of actual NXT names: Brutus Creed, Katana Chance, Brooks Jensen, and my favourite name ever, I can't read this one without laughing, Tatum Paxley. There's something about Tatum Paxley which just really tickles me.
Who's coming up with these? I think
hello, how do you do? I'm Tatum Paxley.
Yeah. I'll give you one. I'll give you Matthew Potato Salad.
And you will be Roy Poo Twister.
I love it. Roy. Roy. It's a very bland name. Bland. I'll be George Glass.
No, it's going to be Roy, but it will be spelled Roigh.
Oh, now we're talking. Yes. Can I have an umlaut? Can I have an umlaut somewhere?
Right.
to make me feel really international. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put you on NXT UK.
Yeah. Me and Trent. Is Trent still there? I used to like him. Trent. What was it? Trent.
I have no idea.
7?
Trent 7.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what's going on over there? But yes, I will watch Jay Strong. They blow it. Look, they could have had one of the biggest feuds and biggest moments, quite honestly, in New Japan if they did it right. Nope. No, they didn't do that. Now, I will say this, though. For what it's worth, and as I say this in my head, I'm already talking myself out of it. He did, on the way out, put over Hikuleo, and then here's where my brain took over. But he's not in New Japan Cup, so right? They completely ignore that. And now David Finlay has gotten a little bit of
David Finlay.
Right.
Yes. Let's see how the David Finlay thing pans out. Because if he has a good run in the New Japan Cup and they actually capitalise on that, then I'd say they have made some chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Right. But it is weird. Listen, I saw us trending again. I saw us being stirring the soup, if you will. I saw us. And I find it. I mean, I do have to say this though. Can I say this? And and I mean this from the bottom of my fucking heart. I think we have become the podcast in which we appear in the third paragraph of every one of those fucking jitbag wrestling sites, right? Or it's always, from what we hear, Jay White's contract has ended. And then it goes on and gives a fucking long soliloquy about Jay White. And then third paragraph down, yeah, according to the Super J-Cast. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for the link. And some of them don't link. And I'm like, you motherfuckers. Yeah, we're third paragraph down. Just put that in your headline. Super J-Cast. Put Super J-Cast in your fucking headlines. You creeps.
Yeah, we want that clap.
Yes.
Give me the clap.
We want all the retweets and quotes. We love it. We hate it, but whatever. Yeah, please, come on. You boobs. Now we know what Dave must go crazy with that every fucking day. They're probably doing it to him. I'm just checking for us. I'm vanity searching us. I don't give a shit about Dave. All right, there you go. So please credit us where credit is due. Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about the New Japan Cup Day 1. So there is a Pick'ems contest going on our Discord. There's no prize for the winner, but there's a truly ghastly forfeit for the loser. Oh. I'm going to text you what it is. I can't say what it is on the podcast.
Okay.
I will just text
you. So the person it's not who wins, it's who loses.
Yes.
Okay.
So the loser.
Right. Well, I'll send that away. I can't wait to see this. Hopefully somebody's getting their head shaved. All right, let's see.
It's worse than that.
Worse than that. Okay, here we go. Can I read it out loud? What?
No.
Okay. Wow.
People are scared already.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bracket busters today. There's people sweating now.
You know what? I love it because here's the thing. It's and you got to join the Discord to find out. We're not going to disclose what the loser gets, but yeah, it gives you motivation to not tank. How many people are in ours? Do you have any idea? Like 10, 12, 20?
Yeah, it was a sort of impromptu thing. Like as the show started, we decided to do that. So let's have a look and see how many people. Okay, yeah, we got 9 people so far.
I would have bailed out.
and it's not looking good for the balding Bogan, who got both his picks wrong today. So
wow,
he's tugging on his collar.
Yeah, he's gonna have. What a weekend he'll have, right? He'll just sitting in front of the TV and
just get him on the podcast to give us a summary.
Yeah, you could. That'd be
content.
I'd love to see. When you have a New York Times best-selling writer, it should be interesting, right?
We could get that person on the show.
Oh.
We've got the contacts. Oh. Imagine that. We have a round table.
Oh, our last show will do that. How about that? We'll go out.
I mean, you said he's better than the guy who won the main event at this New Japan Cup show.
Yeah, so well, I did.
That's relevant.
And there's no doubt.
Anyway, if you know, you know.
Right. And let me just say, I stick by that. Absolutely, I do. That being said, I don't know if I want to read anything. All right. Very good.
Okay, right. Today's show. So I'll just quickly go through the undercard. First match, we had Oiwa and Tama Tonga against Kosei Fujita and Zack Sabre Jr. So I'm enjoying seeing Fujita and Zack teaming up and seeing him learning from Zack and applying submission moves. And I do think it's going to be part of a very cool long-term story between Oiwa and Fujita, who are so impressive. Like they I don't know, they just feel like they're streets ahead of other young lions that I've seen in my time as a New Japan fan. So it's really exciting watching them. And also kind of cool seeing Tama Tonga and Zack as, I guess, two of the top foreign baby faces. Are they baby faces? They are kind of baby faces in New Japan. So yeah, that match was way better than it had any right to be. Second match, we had Wato, Taguchi, Narita, and Shota against Dick Togo, Sho, Yujiro, and Evil. So this was kind of cool just to see Wato and Ren and Shota, who all sort of overlap to some extent with the dojo, I believe. I mean, that could be wrong. But,
yeah.
Wato may have... No, I think they were all in the dojo at some point. I don't know. But anyway, it was cool seeing them all together. And I still think that there's a lot of money in a Ren versus Shota feud. I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, but it's certainly interesting getting them on the same side. And they will be having a tag match against Tanahashi and Okada next week.
That's good.
So that's going to be one to keep an eye on, because that could be possibly a vehicle to, planting some seeds between those two. Because I'll be, I think, pretty surprised, maybe even a bit disappointed if Ren and Shota are just best buddies and great synergy. And I want to see a bit of friction there. I'm a shit stirrer, Damon. I want to see some drama there. We also had Yuto Nakashima, El Desperado, Minoru Suzuki against Gedo, Chase Owens, and Kenta, which was notable for Kenta and Suzuki seemingly setting up a strong title match somewhere down the line. So maybe that'll be Collision, I assume. But I think Suzuki versus Kenta for the strong title. Maybe, is that the highest profile strong title match we've ever had? Oh no, I think it might be, actually. I'm getting confused with when Kenta was wrestling Moxley for the US title, but that was the US title, not the strong title.
I mean, if you count the Rosser Lawler feud,
I mean, those matches were great, but they weren't high profile.
Yeah.
There's not two established names. I think that's a pretty sexy match for these big, strong live shows that are going to get all fucked up.
That we just shit on for 15 minutes. Yeah, that should be pretty fun, actually. I tell you what, that tag match sounds really, really interesting. The Tanahashi Okada, and I kind of dig the idea of them being a team and looking at the tag title. I do dig that. It does give me early 80s Bob Backlund vibes. But here's the problem, though. Well, I mean, I don't even know if it's a problem. Like, so if I don't know, I think, like, they're not winning the titles, right? They're not going to give Okada fucking tag titles and the world title, right? I mean, that seems kind of...
They might. It's worth just pointing out that tomorrow is the anniversary event, and the main event of the anniversary event is the IWGP Tag Team Championship match with Bishamon defending against Tanahashi and Okada. Now, I don't think that Tanahashi and Okada are going to win, because I'm just looking at that part of the New Japan Cup bracket with Kyle Fletcher taking on Yoshihashi and then potentially going on to face Goto. So I think the tag titles would need to stay on Bishamon in order to instigate a Bishamon Aussie Open feud for those titles.
I mean, if that's what they want to do.
Say never in New Japan.
Yeah, if that's what they want to do. Yeah. But I like it. I don't know. They just feel like... I always bitch and moan about how tag teams don't necessarily feel like they're tag teams. They just stick two fucking guys together. And trust me, there is that element here. But they are, the two they just feel like stars. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like you are getting the fucking mega powers here, right?
Okay, so what do you think is the function of this match? So this is Saturday, March 11th in Aichi. So there are going to be two New Japan second round matches, New Japan Cup second round matches. But so the only announced match is this 30-minute time limit special tag match with Tanahashi, Okada versus Ren and Shota. So what do you think that is for? Do you think it's setting up a singles feud, like maybe Tanahashi against Shota, or Tanahashi versus Ren, or Okada versus Ren, Okada versus Shota, or what do you think we do?
I mean, I honestly, I hate to be like the fucking wet blanket on this, but I don't think it goes any further than one of those two looking at the fucking lights. Now
it's got to be Tanahashi, surely. Shota pinning Tanahashi.
No, I think the other way around.
Really?
Yeah. Shockingly, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I think Tanahashi's getting a pin there.
Yeah. look, I think we can use this as a seed. I think we can, but I'm trying my damnedest, and it doesn't necessarily make for an interesting podcast, mind you, but I'm trying my damnedest to not fucking fantasy book anymore, because it never comes to pass. Never.
Yeah, we've wasted so much fucking time saying, oh, well, because of this match order and this, I think this is going to happen. It's all absolutely pointless.
Pointless. Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got to stop doing it.
It's hard because, you see what could be. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I get it. I understand it. But it never comes. Like, honestly, I'm going with one of those two, and I don't mean Okada or Tanahashi, is taking a pinfall, and they're going to shake hands, and they're going to show respect, and then Tanahashi and Okada are going to get on the mic and do their closing bit, and that's that. Like, that's...
Yeah, I was even as you were speaking, I was thinking, what if Okada just absolutely punks out Shota Umino and pins him in a disrespectful way and sets off a long time. And I was like, no, I'm doing it again.
Right? But you can do that. And it's fun, and you can really get yourself going. You know what I mean? You could fucking fill your notebook. It never happens. And if anything of the history of Bullet Club tells you that, it's the woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I just...
What I want now, Damon, is someone to edit together all our big predictions interspersed with, those Jonathan Frakes clips where he's saying, it's complete fiction. It's a fabrication. Right. It never happened. It never happened.
Please, somebody do that. I would pay money for that. Because, yeah, you're right. It would be... Well, that would be the whole show. We could take the day off and just let that play for an hour. Because there's millions of them. We stink. All right.
Okay, so we also got Lio Rush, Yo, and Yano against Bushi, Hiromu, and Shingo. It's great to see Lio Rush just there on a regular tour. Yeah. I think a lot of people had their doubts about him. I was always a bit more bullish and optimistic because he just, from day one, he was working his socks off on New Japan Strong, even in the empty arena days. So I just, looking at how he's been used in other companies, I never feel he was given a fair shot. So it's great to see him enjoying himself in New Japan. I think this is some of his best work. He's done wonders for Yo, and I'm really looking forward to the Hiromu Junior Challenge. Whether or not he wins, I hope he sticks with the company.
I just got a text from an L Rush saying, New Japan, fuck it, I'm out of here.
Oh, is he retired?
I just got the text. Unbelievable. I don't know who L Rush is, though. I'm not sure. Well, yeah. I mean, look, I'm thrilled with it too. I've said it that would be a fantastic challenge and definitely add some spice to a junior division that could use some extra seasoning. Let's hold off on giving them flowers, though. I mean, it's one fucking tour at this point.
No, he did the Super Junior Tag League. He was really good.
He was. That's true too. Okay, I'll give you that. All right. Can I give him half a bouquet? A little couple.
Yes.
A little arrangement.
A single rose.
How about a succulent? Would you like a succulent?
Don't touch it.
Lio Rush, you get the succulent.
We had Honma, Tanahashi, Okada against Yoshihashi, Ishii, and Goto, which maybe, as I mentioned on the commentary as well, what do you think the Chaos group chat is like? What are the dynamics of that? This is definitely a group that Okada has on mute.
Yeah,
he's not reading or posting anything in there. Which members of Chaos do you think are the most active in the Chaos group chat?
I would say, you know what? I would say Yo. Okay. Think Yo is pretty active in it.
I think Robbie Eagles as well.
Think Robbie Eagles as well. Gino's got a lot of time on his hands, so he might be.
He's not in Chaos.
Oh yeah, he's not in Chaos. I'm sorry, you're right. Well, maybe he just gets in there. He just stirs the shit. I don't know. Maybe he got access. I don't know. I know he's not in Chaos. I just thought I heard.
No, Robbie's angry now because of the Leo jump in the queue.
Yeah.
So Robbie's probably like, screenshotting that and sending it to other people. Oh, look at these fucking jerks.
Yeah. And Robbie probably brings up stonks too, right? He's probably
Gotto probably uploading loads of photos of his kids.
Yeah.
No one's reacting to them.
Nah. No likes, no hearts, no nothing. Yep. Okada's got it on mute. What else? Rocky Romero is probably pretty fucking...
they're sending silly memes.
Yeah.
No, Rocky's sharing crypto links, Ponzi schemes. Hey guys, you got to check this out. You got to invest.
Yeah. He's probably. I mean, it does seem weird seeing Okada pounding on fucking Ishii, or pounding on Yoshihashi. It does seem...
He has no idea. So someone's going to ask him, like, so how were the sort of dynamics you as the leader of Chaos facing off against your stablemates there? He'd be like, I'm a member of what now?
Right. I don't know what you're talking about.
Is that still going? I thought we disbanded years ago.
Right. I haven't been getting my checks from Chaos. It's weird. I mean, is Chaos still a thing?
It's just a towel, guys. It's a towel.
Right,
it's not a faction.
Yeah, it's just a towel. Chaos is just a towel. That's the name of my new Spotify playlist. Chaos is just a towel.
I can't remember who it was that said that. I think it was Mike and Tracy who filled in for us.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't Mike or Tracy, if I've got it wrong and I've misattributed that brilliant quote to incorrectly, please let me know.
Yeah,
I think it was Mike.
We need to give full credit.
Anyway, we had our New Japan matches here. Just take my brackets, my pick'ems, wipe your ass on them, put them in the bin. It's all gone to shit. We had Tetsuya Naito versus El Phantasmo. The website's not been updated, so I can't tell you exactly how long it went, but Naito was the winner. And what did he use? Did he use the Polvo de Estrella to win? So he didn't use the full Destino, but I don't know, Damon. I mean, the match was fantastic.
It really was.
And it was proof of concepts, everything that we've been saying about ELP for years, that he can absolutely do the New Japan main event style. The crowd love him. You know, he had the fans at the palm of his hands, and it just felt like they were chanting his name.
Yeah.
Like the ELP chants were drowning out the Naito chants. You know, he was busting out some big, sort of dangerous, high-flying moves and hard hitting with the kicks, and I really thought he was going to win. I thought, this is the moment where they're going to pull the trigger now. And he didn't. I just was so deflated afterwards because he's not a young guy. Like, I don't know how old he is exactly, but he's in his
50s.
mid to late 30s. So he's 52. The oldest 52 old. And what are we waiting for? Why can't we have nice things? Why can't ELP be a proper main eventer? Is he just a gatekeeper now, or do you think there is something in the pipelines and they're just taking their time with it? I felt really deflated by this one.
I can see that. I was too, and I think, and Corkin's pretty infamous for being rooting for the underdog, and kind of finding a way to root for the underdog. I don't know about ELP at this point. Like, to me, the ideal scenario would be him kind of taking the forefront in Bullet Club and being that guy, and the angle was there to make it happen. But
I mean, maybe Don Taku. Don Taku is traditionally the Bullet Club event. So if nothing happens by Don Taku, then I'm selling my stonks on, not on ELP, because ELP is great, but selling my stonks on more of our shitty, pointless fantasy booking.
Yes. I will say this though, it was really noticeable about the size that he's putting on. It's noticeable of how he not only keeps up with a heavyweight, but like a top flight heavyweight. He kicked out of a fucking Destino. You know what I mean? And again, Destino's...
Well, it was the running Destino, wasn't it? It wasn't the full.
My bad. All right. Well, I mean, still. Which was, I think, a significant spot.
And it was... he wasn't put away by the classic Destino finishing maneuver. It was the Polvo de Estrella. So that kind of indicates maybe that there is unfinished business between these two. They may yet wrestle again, because usually when they do that, it signifies that
we're not done.
This is maybe the first step in a long-term thing. Because they did that with Naito and Okada in last year's New Japan Cup, and then that sort of set the table. Or was it already the second match in the 3 matches they had? I can't remember. But point is, if a guy doesn't use their finisher, it usually means they're going to wrestle again.
I hope so, because the match was really fucking great. I thought Naito was really excellent. After ELP's mocking with the fist pump, then it was all Naito's in the corner doing the ELP, hand gimmick. I don't know. It really did feel like it was upset city time. But yeah, I think a lot of people. Well, I don't know if a lot of people went Naito over ELP or vice versa. But I think a lot of people that were looking for that infamous first round upset were pointing their finger at that. But once again, we got fucked.
And speaking of getting fucked, was the main event with Sanada defeating Taichi. Now, again, I thought this was a really, really great match. They after like the first 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh my god, this is shit. This stinks like rubbish." Sanada's come back, but that was all part of the story. So Taichi lampshaded this, and that was part of the narrative of the match. That he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Sanada looked like Jeff Hardy during that Victory Road match. Sting. I was like, "Oh my god, is he okay?" And eventually Taichi managed to get him fired up, and I thought that. The last 10 minutes of this was really great, and I've been praising Sanada over the last 18 months. I really think he's tightened his game up, and he's starting to fill in a lot of the holes in his wrestling.
It only took him 20 years.
Apparent over the years. I know. Like the sloppiness is mostly gone. It's mostly gone. There was a couple of moments in this match I was like, but one thing he showed in this match that people accused him of not showing was that fire, that passion. And that was part of the story of the match, that it was Taichi that managed to stir up that fire within him. And he looked more fired up than I think I've ever seen him. And I think I've said that a few times over the last year with Sanada. So fair play to him for, I think, doing a better job emoting, because I think, to be a top guy in New Japan, you need to have those levels to your emotions. Like, if it's a big match and you're fired up, you've got to show something a bit extra, a bit different. And he did that here. He's got a new finishing maneuver again. That's another thing that I've thought about Sanada and said over the years. He's lacking a really impactful finishing move. And Taichi, to his credit, he kicked out of 2 rounding body presses, or moonsaults, as you may call them. So Sanada had a new finishing move, which I thought looked really good. So, not dissimilar to a Blade Runner. So I don't know if he was waiting for Jay to leave before he started workshopping that one. But we had this Sanada losing run storyline, which probably was setting the table for, I hate to say it, for him to win the New Japan Cup. I'm saying it. I think he's got to be one of the favourites now. We haven't done Sanada Okada for a while. That's a match that can do numbers at Sumo Hall, especially if this is Sanada with a fresh coat of paint. I don't like it, Damon. I don't want that. As much as I praise Sanada, New Japan Cup should be for elevating you guys, and we've got the 2 guys that I wanted to see get a push just go crashing out in flames after day 1. I wanted to see Taichi and ELP having a run in this tournament, and instead we've got Naito and Sanada. So it is not to my taste, but I can acknowledge that it was a really good match and praise Sanada for the improvements in his game, but also say I'm terrified at the prospect of him winning this tournament.
I'm not going to lie, that would be incredibly disappointing. Not only just the fact that I'm not the biggest Sanada guy, just like all the talent that...
Hello, welcome to 2019 again.
Right. I mean, all the talent that they fucking have. And we're going with him again? Like, we haven't learned our lessons. Well, here's the thing with learning the lessons. there is a massive disconnect, I think, between what a Japanese audience wants and what a Western audience wants. And there are times where that can mesh, and there are times when that can be miles and miles apart. This is, I feel, one of those moments of miles and miles apart. Like, I just don't understand the Sonata thing, other than, you know, he's able to make it happen in Japan. But
did you like the match?
Yes.
Well, what did you think of Sonata's performance here?
I thought it was one of his better ones. I still, and the fired up thing that you absolutely. And again, I think Taichi is really become one of those guys where you're almost expecting, like in a decent spot match, you're almost expecting it to be really good. And that is, to me, that's one of the greatest stories maybe in the past 4 years, is his ascension. But I thought the match was really good. I was disappointed in the finish. It did feel like we were doing samesies for reasons unknown, when it really felt like this company was ready for a new coat of paint. We got the same shade, it looks like. Now, can I ask you this? Does this mean a Naito Sonata match?
I think so. It's got to be. I mean, looking at the brackets, unless Kenta defeats Sonata,
right?
You know, I mean, in which case, what is the point of this Sonata thing? Like, then I would be annoyed that Sonata lost,
right?
Ironically enough.
So yeah, because Kenta has the bye, right? Yeah.
I mean, this could be the start of Sonata. And I'm doing it again. I was going to
right,
say,
hard.
Going through his LIJ stablemates, beating Naito, beating Shingo in the final, winning the cup, and then joining Just 4 Guys to become usually just 4 guys, at least just 4 guys, at least 4 guys. But no more fantasy booking.
You know what they should do? They should be called Just 5 Guys at that point, and then they should just come out with like making hamburgers and shit. It'd be great. Handing them out to the crowd. It'd be great. Big bag of French fries. Okay, so there you go. I don't think they have the balls.
So we've got Chase Owens versus Kenta.
Yeah. Right. I don't think New Japan has the balls to do Sonata and Naito. I don't think they have the balls.
Really?
Nope.
So what do you think we're getting then?
We're getting Kenta, Naito.
Wow. So you think you are not in agreement that this Sonata thing is a run to the final, if not winning it? No. Okay.
No. Now, again, maybe that's me just kind of purposely turning my eye to logic and just, sticking my fingers in my fucking ears. And I don't. That being said, one of the guys, or quite honestly, 2 of the guys that I would have thought, if they were going to make some, shake things up a little bit, I mean, those 2 guys were probably high on my list of making that happen. No, I think this is a Ospreay or a Finlay show at this point. I hope. But here's the thing. Ospreay, I think, is winning G1. So I don't think he's winning Cup.
Yeah, and Chris Sampson pointed out actually earlier on today that, what did he say? Let me get his exact words.
Fuck you, Damon. Is that what he said?
So Will Ospreay has eliminated Sonata from the last 2 New Japan Cups. I suppose that's a reason for Sonata to make it to the semis against Will. Now, I did point out in response to this that if you go down the rabbit hole of, I mean, everyone's wrestled each other so often in this company now that if you go down this rabbit hole of saying, oh, well, so-and-so's going to get their win back over so-and-so here, that there are, that could pull you into so many different directions. But Chris has set that one on the table. So if that happens, you know how to blame it.
Right. All right. I mean, we have shows tomorrow for that, right? What's that?
We do. So, tomorrow is the anniversary event. So by the time you're listening to this, it will have probably already finished. Right. But this is the Old City General Gymnasium. So we got Kosei, Fujita, and Zach against ELP and Kenta. So this could be where they plant the seeds. No, not doing that. Yeah. Second match, Kojima, Yano, and Tamatonga against Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and Will Ospreay. So, yeah, I'm quite looking forward to that, to seeing Will and Aussie Open hopefully kicking some ass. Third match, we got Ren, Despy, and Suzuki against Dick Togo, Sho, and Evil. So those guys are still wrestling each other for some reason. Fourth match, Sanada, Shingo, and Naito against Hinare, Okada, and Jeff Cobb. Fifth match, we got an anniversary event junior heavyweight special tag match with Leo Rush and Yo versus Bushi and Hiromu. Sixth match, we have Shota Umino versus Yujiro. That's got to be a show to win, yes?
I hope so.
The seventh match, New Japan Cup first round, David Finlay versus Tomohiro Ishii. So all of the logic suggests that Finlay is winning. So, yeah, Ishii, vertical drop brainbuster, 14 minutes, Ishii through to the next round.
Yeah, Stone Pitbull. I don't know. I mean,
seriously, it's got to be Finlay.
Yeah,
surely.
Be. I mean, what was the point? If Finlay is losing this match, what was the point of all of that? It's got to be Finlay. It's got to be Finlay.
Then the main event is, as I mentioned before, the IWGP Tag Team Championship match with Bishamon against Tanahashi and Okada. So I'm saying Bishamon win here. It wouldn't shock me if Tanahashi and Okada do win the titles.
Oh, no way.
I'd see an Okada as a double champ.
Really?
That could elevate the tag titles a bit. But no, I'm going Bishamon for the win.
Yeah. Who's looking at the lights? Tanahashi?
Yep.
Okay. We're not setting up Hiroki Goto for his final IWGP.
We're not setting up anything ever again. Nothing is going to be set up. No breadcrumbs, no storylines, just a series of random, non-related matches and events.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see him under the fucking waterfall again. Let's do it. Hiroki Goto, baby. No, I don't think it's happening. Tanahashi, another loss. Dad status is quickly approaching for Hiroshi Tanahashi, if he's not up there already.
Yeah, other shows this week. Wednesday, there's one in Fukushima. We've already done our pick-up, so I don't think there's any point going over this again. But that will be Yano against Mark Davis, and main event of Ren versus Evil. And then on Friday in Yamanashi, our cup matches will be Yoshihashi against Kyle Fletcher and Shingo against Hinari, which should be quite fun.
That should be good. Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, well, that is New Japan Cup done. I would like to talk about Fantasticamania. I really enjoyed these two Korakuen shows. I think one of the low-key, heartwarming things coming out of the pandemic is that the flame of love between New Japan and CMLL still burns bright. And I've been saying that for years, pandemic or not. Chairman Sugabayashi absolutely loves CMLL, and other people have hand-waved it, but I think they've been proven wrong from this tour. CMLL is good. Fantasticamania was great. It's received widespread critical acclaim, including from some of the most vocal New Japan critics. So I think everyone who watched these events enjoyed them. And I don't know exactly how much you watched, but from whatever you did see, did you have a good time?
Yes, I did. It is, again, everybody knows this is not my favorite time of year when it comes to New Japan, blah, 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 blah. But I always say that the shows at Korakuen are usually, if not fun, great, right? They're either, in many cases, not either. It's fun and great. In some years, it's been tons of fun. In some years, it's been, wow, that was a fucking fantastic match, to close out a show or, close out the first night at Korakuen. The fans, the people that are there, absolutely adore that time of year. They are there to have a fiesta, if you will. That's what I think
While you are having a siesta.
I'm having a fresca. What? Look, I'm not going to shit on anyone's fucking party. Okay, I'm not here to do that. It was an enjoyable watch. It was. Here's what it was for me anyway. I got more joy and pleasure watching the people in the crowd and their reactions and their into it. You know, I enjoyed that most. They had those fucking horn. What are they? The vuvuzels or whatever the fuck they're called.
Vuvuzelas.
Yes. Bless you.
I think we should have vuvuzelas on this podcast. I think whenever one of us isn't talking, the person who's not talking should be playing a vuvuzela.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. They're into it, and that makes it much more enjoyable. Yeah, could you imagine this in a non-vocal crowd environment, a clap crowd environment?
No.
Right.
Would not work.
It would not work at all.
It would be awful.
Yeah. But yet, when you add those people there who are there to celebrate, love it. Love it. I love that aspect. Look, to me, a lot of what I see feels kind of choreographed, and I like it to an extreme where I'm noticing the choreographic nature of the match. And that's the style, and that's just that is what it is. I don't know. I know you were raving about a couple of matches. They were okay, but they were good, but I would love to be able to look at them through the lens of a avid lucha fan, because looking at these matches through my eyes, it's hard for me to make the disconnect between what I like and what I don't like. I thought they were good. I don't think they were great. And I don't know if I would even be like, yeah, you got to go check this out. It was good in the pocket in which it was, and in the environment that it was. But I can't sit here and say that I'm doing cartwheels and, as Joe Lanza would say, pacing in my fucking living room because of Fantastica Mania and these two Corkin shows.
Well, I am doing that, and I could praise Fantastica Mania for about 8 minutes. So just sit down, make yourself comfortable.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, I thought these Chronicles were fantastic. I just had a great energy. I loved having the Spanish commentary as well, really brought a bit of extra flavour to it. And I just felt like from the first match, guys were going to work and also having fun, most of all. There was a real sense of joy from these events. And it was like they all kind of remembered why they love wrestling. And it doesn't have to be all hard-hitting, strong-style, epic main events or violent grudge matches. It's just a bunch of people having a lovely time. And they put a lot of effort into it. I loved all the sort of mini feuds that were running through it. They had the Tiger Mask 4 versus Hijo del Villano 3 as a little nod, a throwback to the 1981, original Tiger Mask versus Villano 3 feud. I really loved Capitan Suicida versus Ultimo Guerrero, who has got the greatest mullet I've seen since Falcon from Gladiators. I'm starting the campaign to get Ultimo Guerrero in the G1.
Oh, please don't.
I thought he's great. This match, I really love this. This might be my favourite match from the whole tour. It had the similar vibe of a 2017 Hiromu versus Kushida match. They were just throwing each other off the top rope for 10 minutes, and I loved it. I enjoyed the stuff with Naito and Barbario Cavernario playing Naito's theme on Taguchi's little keyboards. Kenta Sato getting a visual pin on Bushi, who was the second least credible person who's pinned Bushi this year. Taguchi's usually a hard skip most of the time, but I actually think he's been pretty fun this tour. And, worked a lot harder he's ever done over the last 2 years. There was a bit in this match where they did a triple Tope Suicida, which not for nothing. You don't usually see guys doing that on a Korakuen Hall show. And yeah, again, these little storylines. Naito stole Taguchi's Pharaoh mask and keyboard. So yeah, they're sowing the seeds for a huge Naito Taguchi feud this year, I'm sure. Yeah. But no, I'm joking. But a low key, like really entertaining mini feud throughout this tour, and that's what you love to see on these tours for the freaks. These little self-contained stories that reward you for watching and paying attention. And yeah, that was a legitimately good 6-man match that I really enjoyed. And yeah, the two main events from the 27th showed the Templari against Volador and Titan versus Soberano. Just like really, I think, high-level lucha stuff. And again, the regular lucha watchers, I mean, we've got some in our Discord, and they really loved it as well. And Dave Meltzer's rated them really highly. I just thought they were just really like top-quality wrestling matches. I don't think they're going to be in my match of the year lists come December, but I enjoyed them just for them being something different and just very high-level pro wrestling. I mean, they packed a lot into, 13 minutes? Like, it had this kind of similar energy as a mid-tour Best of the Super Junior main event in a good way. And that was just a really entertaining show on the 27th. Like, if you haven't seen any Fantastica Mania, I would say that show, the Korakuen Hall show from the 27th, just top to bottom, just captures the essence of what I really enjoyed about Fantastica Mania this year. And the show on the 28th was great as well. We had the let me actually get the results up here. If you just bear with me for a moment. I should have done this before. Get the movies owners out. So the second match is Tiger Mask defeating Hiko del Milano 3. 9 minutes, 28 seconds, Tiger Suplex. And this is emblematic of how cool Fantastica Mania is when you could get a very good singles match playing off a week of condensed mini feud on the second match in front of a really hot crowd. Like, when are you going to get Tiger Mask in a singles feud in New Japan outside of Fantastica Mania? And he can still go. Like, he's really underrated, Tiger Mask. And every time he's in a featured match, I'm out on the streets saying this grumpy old fucker still kicks ass. He's still technically and physically rock solid. He's a really good base for the high flyers. And I'm not asking Tiger Mask to get a mega push as a junior champion or anything, but having Fantastica Mania existing as the platform for just a little celebration of Tiger Mask is really good for me. And they all hug it out at the end. Everyone's happy. It warms my heart again. Just everyone out here having a lovely time. And case in point, the next match with Oiwa, Kojima, Tanahashi, all putting on the Rei Kometa face paint and the headband. Why? Just for fun. Right. It's just an example of the laughs they have at Fantastica Mania. They didn't need to do it, but they did. And it made for a very cool, very memorable moment. Like, all of the matches had these little treats in it where it just, made them stand out, made them memorable, and just that little extra bit of enjoyment there. There was also, the singles match with Dulce Gardenia defeating Okamura. Big yikes. Not sure about that one, Chief. Delete this. Oof. Will Ospreay's probably listening to this, rubbing his hands together, waiting for me to cancel Okamura, just like I permanently cancelled Will for the B. Priestley angle. And yes, I'm sorry to say, this Fantastica Mania has been milkshake ducked. Okamura is getting a one-way trip to Council Town. I mean, even more unfortunately, I found myself quite enjoying this match. So sadly, I have to cancel myself. Yeah. So please press stop, unsubscribe. I mean, I've talked about all the little payoffs to these mini feuds, but Dulce Gardenia finally getting a big smackaroo on the lips of Okamura is right up there. I mean, if we're looking for proof that Kikuchi is back and writing the storylines for New Japan again, look no further than this masterpiece. I mean, I would not be against Dulce Gardenia coming back.
Wow.
Put him in Best of the Super Juniors. I think he really got himself over with the fans here. He was there for the 2020 tour and he did a lot of really fun stuff with Shingo. But I just think the Korakuen Hall fans and the Japanese New Japan watchers in general, they really took a shine to Dulce Gardenia. So I think he was one of the guys who came out of this tour with his stock raised. Then the fifth match we had Soberano Jr. defeating Hechicero in 13 minutes. We had a classic power guy versus high fly. There was a ton of brilliant interconnected grappling, some really creative spots and transitions, and really highlighted and showcased these two wrestlers who I think made the most of this tour and again, really raised their stonks. Like, if I'm picking two guys who I think made the most of it, it would be these two. And I hope we get both of them back this year. And look, I'm going through these match times. Got 4 minutes, 9 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 13 minutes, 14 minutes, 16 minutes. This is really breezy stuff. Like, it was very digestible. Everyone loved these shows. The longest match on these Coracle doubleheaders was the 16-minute main event with Mystico and Atlantis Jr. Like, can we get more of this, please?
Really?
New Japan should learn from this. Like, there is a time and a place for the long, epic 35-minute match, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with having all of the matches on a show go less than 20 minutes. I don't think anyone's going to be demanding their money back because the matches weren't long enough. And, look at all the praise that Okada versus Kaito Kiyomiya is getting for its brevity. And maybe it's my fucked up attention span, but if I could get New Japan to change one thing about the product, it would be the match lengths. We can save the 30-minute epics for a handful of your biggest matches, but again, this is a case in point that less is more. And I've written about Watto and Ultimo Guerrero and Barbaro Cavernario, who teamed up on this Relevos Incredibles match against Despy and Templari and Volador Jr. With that team, just reading out those names, Watto, Ultimo Guerrero, and Cavernario, they should be six-man never champs. That's, real random select energy there. Like, they picked all the best lucha pervert New Japan wrestlers for this tour, who, look, guys like Despy and Watto and Doki, guys who love and respect lucha. They were clearly having the times of their lives mixing up with the CMLL crew. Because, sometimes on Fantastic Amazing, you get guys from both sides, to be fair, you feel like they don't really want to be there. But I thought they absolutely nailed the roster this year. Like, the balance was perfect. Every single person brought their A game. Really enjoyable stuff. And at the end of the show, everyone's in the ring, hugging it out, just having a great time. So just find something that you love as much as Mystico loves Coracle and Ball, because that man did not want to leave. Like, he was literally kissing babies out there. So much so that Kevin Kelly and Chris Sharp were lampshading that at the All-Star Junior Festival. They were timing like, right, how long is it going to take for Mystico to get out the ring? Let's give him till the top of the hour. So it's really fun just watching Mystico just absolutely milking the crowd for every last bit of adulation. So I had a blast watching Fantastica Mania. I will be very much looking forward to it next year.
I'm glad people enjoy it. Trust me, and again, I don't want to be the wet blanket. I don't want to be the downer. It's just, I agree with everything you said in the sense of the energy and people smiling and enjoying themselves. Not only the fans, but the participants. And I think you're exactly right. The people who were there wanted to be there, and leaned into it and had a great time with it. Again, I agree 1,000%. Again, it's like me going to a fucking country western concert. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to fucking I want to give a shit about the music, but maybe I'll have a couple beers and have some laughs. You know what I mean? That's really what I think of it. It's not for me, but it's like, all right, I feed off of everyone else enjoying it. I think is really what it is.
I also would like to discuss the All-Star Junior Festival, which, strictly speaking, is not a New Japan event, but there was New Japan involvement, and I think it's worth mentioning. Although we will start off with a question from Dr. Gary, who says, was the All-Star Junior Festival badly hurt by being pay-per-view? I didn't pay and hardly saw any engagement online for it. Obviously difficult with TV Asahi gift situation. I suppose it was more for a Japanese audience, but still surprised how little discussion it seemed to generate. And yeah, Dr. Gary is right. There was no buzz for this. Like, there were a handful of people watching it in our Discord, but there was like barely anything on Twitter. I think, the pay-per-view stuff is probably the biggest culprit, but I also think it was poorly timed. Like, it coming off the back of Fantastica Mania, there was a lot of, they were sort of scratching those same itches that had already been well scratched by Fantastica Mania. And I kind of had my fill of sort of wacky all-star novelty matches by that point. So I didn't watch this live. I watched it a couple of days later after I'd had a bit of a break post Fantastica Mania. But I think they could have, one, not had it as pay-per-view, and two, put it in a better slot. Like, maybe between the end of the New Japan Cup and Sakura Genesis, just to, let it breathe a bit rather than having it crammed onto the end of very fun but also lengthy Fantastica Mania tour.
Yeah. I'm with you 1,000%. I don't think there was any buzz as much as they tried to a certain degree. And I think it really, at least in the West, it was tailored toward people who are really into the pro wrestling. You know what I mean? There are plenty of people that if you are a supporter of New Japan Pro Wrestling and you really don't dip your toes into a lot of other promotions, there is a lot of guys that you probably aren't going to know or be familiar with. So that kind of hurts a little bit in the sense that I'm buying this based off of the people that I do know, and maybe people that I've heard of. Other than that, you're a pretty hardcore pro wrestling fan if you're going into the third match and being like, I can't wait to see this guy or that guy from fucking Freedoms or whatever. I think that the idea of, and again, I've said it before, but the idea of paying extra for these shows, and I understand the logistics, I understand the TV stuff, I get it. I would love to see a number of how many people purchased that. I don't know how we would find it. I don't know how we would know, but give me a number of how many people that you think bought this pay-per-view from a non-Japanese household.
Oh, God, from non-Japanese. I'd be surprised if it was more than triple digits.
Yeah, I would be shocked if it was more than triple digits. I'll set the over-under at 50,000. Over 50,000? Under 50,000.
What, for global
Yep.
buys? Under, probably.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's buying this. Nobody's buying this. That being said, I've yet to see it. I've yet to watch it. It was a weird timing. You're right. I think it as much as they tried to promote it, it was a tough thing to do because you had so much shit squeezed in all around it. And I hate to say it, but a lot of the matches were kind of like, who gives a shit? I mean, I said it last week. I'm not buying this, right? I'm not buying this. Like, was there? And there was nothing there that was like that. Joe, was there anything there where you were like, oh, okay, I can't wait to see this match? No.
Yes.
Oh,
there were. Well, no, not before watching it, but I do have recommendations after watching it.
I mean, going into it, I was with nothing. But here's the thing, though. I mean, you knew you were going to get some good wrestling. Don't get me wrong. You knew you were going to see the guys working their fucking tails off. No doubt about that. Just like I have 24 hours in a day, and like, what am I gonna? How am I? If I got to cut anything, that was probably first on the list. Just it is what it is. All right, so you go ahead. What do you recommend that we watch?
Well, first of all, I think we should praise Kevin Kelly and Chris Chandler for their commentary, and I would not expect either of them to know all of these wrestlers. And obviously, as they acknowledge, there's a big community effort for the notes, but the way they presented it, just always with the utmost professionalism to give you all the information you need to have a buy-in for all of the wrestlers and understand the narratives of the match. So they did a really good job with that. So if you do check it out, the English commentary is definitely worth pursuing. And I suppose that there is worth some mention of the fact the match order, which what was initially mentioned on the English website did actually turn out to be the match order. So Hiromu trying to outdo Liger, put himself in the opener to show how selfless he is. But that opener, the standout was Fujita Jr. Hayato. He was really, really good. Chris Charlton was putting him over big on commentary. It seems that he and Hiromu want to have a singles match. Yamato, after the match, also invited Hiromu to Dragon Gate. So it seems like this is just a vehicle for Hiromu to sort of do a big tour of all these different Japanese promotions and have interesting singles matches. So, yeah, maybe he's deliberately trying to undermine my assessment that he doesn't have anyone interesting left to feud with.
Right.
So, certainly within New Japan, the well is almost run dry. But, he's definitely set up a lot of stuff for the next 12 months for himself. And there was just like a little bit of everything. So, there was the spooky shenanigans match where, what was the fella's name? Onryo was doing the ectoplasm to the eyes of his opponents. That ended in a disqualification. There was some talk of Sho having a death match with Isami Kodaka, which I think would be a lot of fun. I would watch that death match show, getting out the wrench. Or maybe you get out the banana. You could wrap the banana in barbed wire.
Now we're talking.
And then the third match, there was the Shinjiro Otani 10-man tag team match. And as soon as you saw Jun Kasai was on this match, then you knew what was going to happen. And of course, he turned it into a death match. This one was memorable for Kota Sekifuna getting the wooden skewers jammed into his forehead and then walking backstage and doing his backstage promo with the skewers still wiggling around, sticking out of his head. That was very funny. So there was the spooky match, there was the death match, and there was the pervert match,
right,
which of course featured Taguchi with all the guys wearing their matching. It was kind of like a knitted woolen mankini would be the best way of describing this. And a very funny chant from the Korakuen fans they were chanting hentai, which really made me laugh. But yeah, this match had a whole lot of stuff I wish I hadn't seen. Not least of all, just the character of Baton Bora Bora, who's a truly frightening looking man, like a doll has come to life. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to see Yumehito Imanari's anus when I turned into this festival of junior heavyweight wrestling, but there it was. And, a sober reminder for us all as to what we're missing out when we're not watching DDT. But one low-key thing that we missed in the Clap Crowd era was the crowd response, the idiosyncratic crowd response to a wrestler getting their head propelled into another man's groin or bum. You know that sound? Like, it's usually the women in the audience, that shriek of horror tinged with a little bit of guilty delight. Like, they're pretending to be like, oh no, but they secretly love it. Just sensational. So, that one was very enjoyable there. Rocky Romero did a little insert promo. He said he wants to do a US version of this. So Multiverse Ace says, if they were to run an All-Star Junior Festival in the United States, what promotions and wrestlers would you like to see included? Also, if you could book the Ultimate Special Showcase one-on-one singles match to main event the show, who would you choose?
Well, I mean, it feels like we see a lot of these type of things in the States. Even back in the day, Jim Kentner with his best of tournament. Well, you figure you're going to have some Ring of Honor participation. I'm figuring you're going to have, I wouldn't be surprised if you had like the lower level AEW guys if this was going to happen. I think you'll see like the Mike Baileys of the world, Speedball, if you will. I'm going to be honest with you though. Like if they did something like this in the States, do you think this is a thing that people would go out of their way to buy a ticket for? Yeah.
I don't think junior / light heavyweight / cruiserweight wrestling has that level of buzz for it anymore. I mean, you just look at a promotion like All Elite Wrestling, they don't have weight divisions.
Right.
So that's already a stumbling block. Like, is there anyone from that roster that Tony Khan necessarily wants being labelled or pigeonholed as a junior. I'm not sure there is.
Right.
You know, I'm thinking of guys like, you know, Ray Phoenix or Pac, but would they necessarily want to have that label on them now?
Probably
I'm not
not.
sure.
Yeah. A guy like Pac has probably spent more time trying to get out of that label. I don't know. I think that, I mean, I appreciate the fact that if you love the pro wrestling and are really into it, that might be somewhat of a dream scenario to see guys that you maybe never have that they could bring over. But I don't know. I would be somewhat skeptical at the appeal of something like that. I don't know. I look at like New Japan in Philly and struggling to get a house. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how well it would work. To be brutally honest, I don't know how well it would work.
Yeah, just quickly doing a whistle stop for the rest of the show. So there was a 3-way tag team match. That was a lot of fun. It's, you know, non-stop action. You know, when you got guys like Despy, Volador Jr., Lindemann, Docky, you know you're going to get some good stuff there. And a lot of cool lore between a lot of the interactions there, the history of these wrestlers. And it did make me missing El Lindemann in New Japan, who was a guy I came away from Best of the Super Juniors last year really wanting to see New Japan making a push to sign. But as of yet, we have not seen that, but I still think he's one of the most exciting junior heavyweight wrestlers in Japan. We also had the masked 8-man tag team match, which was a great showcase of all the different masks, lots of different designs and colours and shapes and patterns. But again, a victim of me having watched like 5 Fantastic Mania shows right before this. So yeah, as I said, that sort of filled a lot of my hunger for seeing stuff like this. But even so, I mean, this was really great entertainment. This was the match where Kevin Kelly was timing how long it would take Mystico to leave the ring. That was a great bit. And I had a little chuckle at the end for Bushi, and it was him and Black Mensore going for a fist bump. And just as they were about to do the fist bump, Bushi just missed him in the face. And that was very funny. There was a little impromptu special match between Sima and Kazuki Hirata. I'm not sure what the significance of that was. I did ask on the Discord, but nobody replied, so maybe I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm ignorant to that. But they did some silly things which made me laugh. Like they did a spot where Hirata kind of gestured like, you know, you'd see in a samurai movie where 2 guys have a showdown at the end and one of them just does like one sweeping fluid motion, like you barely see them draw their sword, they just like kind of sweep past the other guy and the other guy's like standing there and then like kind of delayed reaction stuff like slumps to their knees. They did that and that was quite funny. So that was good. I mean, if you like things like that, you can plonk down your $30. And the 5-way match was good. So that was Shun Skywalker, Yohei Ishimori, Ninja Mac and Soberano Jr. I mean, this was one of the few matches on this card that had a bit of that dream match spice to it. You know, I do have a lot of time for guys like Shun Skywalker. He's a big name, getting rave reviews from Dragon Gate, and I've already said that Soberano Jr. is a guy who I thought did tremendously in Fantastic Mania. So like seeing them crossing paths together was a lot of fun. And the main event. Okay, so this is the most interesting thing because initially when it said on the English article that Wato versus Atsuki Aoyagi was going to be the main event, I was like, well, no way are they going to do that. I mean, all these other, relatively speaking, stars of Japanese junior heavyweight wrestling, like surely it's going to be like the Hiromu match or the 5-way match or whatever. But no, it was this. It was the singles match between Wato and Aoyagi. So Wato defeated Aoyagi in 40 minutes, 27 seconds with a recientemente. I'm getting pelters for my shit pronunciation, so thank you for everyone who's helped. Barriaga on the Discord gave me some guidance on how to pronounce some of these names correctly after I butchered them last week. But yeah, this Wato Aoyagi match was really, really good. Like, this would be the one match I would say go out of your way to see because, I mean, first of all, Aoyagi did a really great job making Wato look like a big deal, but I think just even Wato being given the main event here is a big statement, and I'll be really interested Damon, to hear your take on this. Like, if you do actually go and watch it, maybe we can discuss it next week, because you might poo-poo this, but I really think Watto's improved a lot over the last 18 months, and this match was a good showcase of that, because he's not fucking stuff up anymore. He's added some great new moves to his arsenal, like the Sutenkaku suplex, the Resistentemente, the TTD, the Vendaval. So those are all really good moves, and a lot of them are very sort of high impact, and they look like they hurt, which is always a plus. I think his striking has improved. It's really on point now. And more to the point, the company are clearly behind him. And one of the things that nobody's talking about with Watto is that, this poor bastard, he made his comeback from Excursion right in the middle of the pandemic. So he was doing all this with either no crowds or clap crowds. So he's only now starting to rediscover that connection he had with the crowd, which he had in spades when he was a young lion. Like, they were, and this match, it felt like he'd rediscovered that, because they were living and dying by every near fall here. It was their boy flying the flag for New Japan. I mean, obviously in the crowd there was a mix of fans of different promotions, but they seem to be really behind Watto here. And we got a bit of that Hirai Kawato, Koraku and magic that he had pre-Excursion, because he really fed off that crowd. That was his lifeblood when he was a young lion. And I know he's become a bit of a meme with the Western fans, but the home fans really love this guy. Like, don't handwave this. Like, they want a reason to cheer for him. So let's see what we've got with him now that we've got proper crowds back, and it seems like he's getting a proper push, because I think he deserves that. And I think Watto Mania is happening this year. If you were to ask me for an early Best of the Super Juniors pick, I would say Master Watto, he's your guy.
I think you brought up a very fair point in that I think everyone owes it to him to judge him under the lens of there are people in the building. I think that's a fair and valid point, because you're right. He debuted in a, for him at least, it felt like a somewhat awkward gimmick, and that he never really kind of felt he found his groove without crowds, without noise, and then clap crowds and all of that. So yes, I agree with that, and I think he deserves that 100%. Two, I think that he has improved. I don't think he's the same guy from a year ago, right? That being said, I still think we have a little ways to go. But again, I think if we judge him by what he's doing in a true pro wrestling environment instead of being, performing moves in an empty building. So yes, I was shocked that he was headlining it, which once again kind of goes to my point of, man, wasn't a lot that people could sink their teeth into to get them to buy. I appreciate the fact that Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton did their homework and they presented the information in a clear and concise manner. That's their job, and they do it excellently, as the readers of the Wrestling Observer pointed out to all of us. That being said, that does not help in people buying the pay-per-view, right? It's that you're doing a great job while they're there, but somebody's got to, roll the dice and say, okay, I'm going to take a shot on this show. And seeing Master Watto atop there might have been like one of those things where people saw and are like, I'm not fucking buying this. I'm going to ask you.
Maybe that's why they did it. Maybe that's why they made it, mystery
right.
vortex. Because honestly, if they'd have announced that from Jump Street, that was the main event, I think a lot of Western fans would have just laughed at it.
Right. They would have hand waved it. Scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being, the greatest show you've ever seen, to 1 being a WWF house show in 1982 with, maybe 86 with Dino Bravo on top. Where would you put this show?
I can't hand on heart say it's worth the money.
Okay. So it's not worth the $30.
No.
Okay. Is it worth
But if you have the chance of it, the main event is worth your time.
Okay.
But I would suggest other means of procuring that.
I understand what you're saying. Look, it's, I appreciate your honesty with it. Because if we were like, oh, no, it's great, blah, 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 I think our credibility will be...
I'm generally higher on stuff than most people. Like, I've sat here and praised Fantastica Mania for 2 shows straight about how great it was. But I'm praising that through the lens of, you are already paying for this service.
Right.
This is free to watch. Right. You will enjoy it if you watch it. You've already plunked your money down. You might as well watch it. You'll have a good time. When it comes to recommending stuff that you are required to pay extra for, that's a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely.
And this does not pass that test.
Excellent. I love it. I don't love it that it was, but I love your honesty, and I appreciate your honesty. And I know our listeners do as well. So excellent job by you.
Okay. That is all for today. So redcircle.com/shows/super-j-cast. If you want to throw some money our way, we always appreciate that. Discord link you can get by sending me a direct message on Twitter at Cobra Kawaii and ProWrestlingTees.com/super-j-cast. Massive thank you to editor Dan. You can find him on Twitter at LousyHero219. Subscribe to the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. Give us a 5-snake review on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at the Super J-Cast. Before I close, Damon.
Yes.
Right, I've done this entire 1 hour, 45-minute podcast in the bedroom, in the same room as my sleeping children. Not a peep. So I was right.
You were right.
Okay?
Excellent. You know it. You nailed it. You know what? I'm calling this the Super Joelcast. This episode is going to be called the Super Joel.
Super Dad Cast.
Because you nailed it all the way through. Excellent job. And the voice hung on to the very end.
Yeah, hanging by a thread. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and goodbye.
Hello there, my name's Neil David, and I'm the host of Eurograps Express, the podcast exclusively dedicated to the wrestling of Europe. If it's wrestling and it happens in Europe and it's good, we talk about it. Whether it's Rev Pro, Progress, WXW, Passion Pro, Pro Wrestling Chaos, Pro Wrestling North, we don't care, we talk about them all. If it's good and it's exciting, I want to share it with you. We're on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Check us out on the feed. Check us out on Twitter at EuroGrapsEXP. And join us for chat about European wrestling and a little bit of chat about cheese. Hopefully see you there.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
It looks like your luggage is over 50 pounds. Is there anything you can take out?
Oh, yeah. Let me just toss all these $20 bills.
Great. Let me grab you a trash can.
Stop. Instead of throwing money away, move some clothes into a carry-on. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
92% of households that start the year with Peloton are still active a year later.
92% because of a bike?
Not just bikes. We also make treadmills and rowers.
Oh, let me guess, for elite athletes only, right?
Nope. It doesn't matter if you're an avid exerciser or new to working out. Peloton can help you achieve your fitness goals. 92% stick with it. So can you. Try Peloton bikes, tread, or row risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only. Not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.